One time management tip we could all use. Let's drop the needle.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, the Landlord Coach and the host of the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. It's so good to see you. It's my birthday weekend. I know, I was born 500 years ago, and this weekend I turned 48 tomorrow. So if you cut me in half, you'll count 48 rings. So anyway, I am really excited. This is a topic that I have had people reach out to me because of the name of my book, The Time Wealthy Investor 2.0. And some people seem to think that I'm a master of time management, and that is not at all what the book is about. And I get it because, when you see a book that's called Time Wealthy, you kind of think, well, he's a master at time management. And then that's not at all the case. I actually think that the phrase time management is actually kind of a bullshit thing. Like, I don't think you can manage time. No one can manage time. You can manage your behavior. You can manage your priorities. You can manage your calendar to the things that are most important to you, that are in alignment with your vision, the things that are the most important to you, the things that are the most productive things that are most important things for you, that are going to get you the most juice out of the squeeze. But you cannot manage time. And wherever that phrase came from, I completely and totally reject that, because I really don't think you can manage time as much as you can manage your boundaries. And I think that's really what people are asking. At least in my case, when I got really good at being productive at the things that were most important to me, and becoming very productive was about establishing boundaries. And I use this analogy quite often, and maybe it'll make sense to you guys. But let's say all of us have a favorite restaurant, right? So we're talking about time management here, but follow me here in terms of where I'm going with this, in terms of establishment of boundaries. So we all have our favorite restaurant, all of us, or maybe several different restaurants, regardless of places you like to go, food, certain dishes you like to eat. Well, if you go to that restaurant wherever you eat and wherever you like to go, and let's say you have a bad meal or a good meal, let's just say you have a bad experience though. What's the mechanism that you have to, get some satisfaction out of that bad meal, right? I promise you that for probably the overwhelming majority of us, and I say, whenever I've asked this question in a crowd, that 99% plus do not have the contact information or home address or home phone number of the owner of the restaurant. Just doesn't happen. Well, that's shocking. Why would you not have that posted on the outside of the door, right? Why wouldn't say, hey, here's my home address. If you have a bad meal, come to my house and make sure you tell me about it, right? Well, I asked this, of course, in the context of many landlords or self-managing landlords, self-managing real estate investors who manage their own rental properties, and they have a phone system that looks like this, right? They have a phone system that's what their phone system is. So, of course, they complain when their residents, when their customers call them at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, whenever. Well, that's the mechanism they know. So don't be upset about that. Why would you be upset by that if that's when they're calling? You've set that expectation, right? You've not set that boundary. So in the case of a rental business, okay, so you don't have and there's things I talk about in the Time Wealthy Investor. I'm not getting into that right now, but this is more about specifically how to manage our boundaries so we can make more productive use of our time, right? And again, I call this the one-time management tip we could all use. But realistically, it's about setting boundaries, about managing our time. And I think let me point this out in terms of setting boundaries, right? So if the resident doesn't have your cell phone number, well, who would they call? Well, they would generally call, they could call somebody. They should be able to contact somebody. What I would suggest is it's set to a virtual number, which goes to a virtual assistant. And that virtual assistant monitors that phone 24 hours a day. Not hard to set up and very common in the property management industry. So why are you not setting that up? Why are you not setting that boundary up for your customers, right? These people who are paying their rent, right? So in this particular case, responding immediately, say, to phone calls would probably be an expectation. However, I would not expect someone to respond immediately to me to an email. If someone emailed me an emergency, and this did happen once, someone emailed us because they were having a cascading leak into their house, right? By some miracle, I happened to see it. I mean, truly a miracle, because I usually do not check my emails that often. I just happened to be glancing at it and saw it come in that moment. It would be like someone rushing into your house, kicking in the door, stabbing you with an ice pick, and you're bleeding out, and you're going to sit down and write a letter to 911. Like, that's silly, right? That's not how that works. There's certain channels of communication that are set up for emergencies and things that are not emergencies. And I think most of us understand that, right? But you have to set those boundaries up front. If someone was going to call you, and again, I got super upset one time because a resident called me at 2 a.m. after I worked my ass off all day long. And he woke me up at 2 a.m. to tell me he was going to renew his lease. He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to answer the phone. Well, what did you think I was doing? Getting my papers together for my route? Come on, dude. What do you, and I was, of course, at that point, I couldn't go back to sleep right away, but I couldn't get mad at him because that was the mechanism I had set up for him. I did not set up boundaries. So again, bringing this back into the realm of the one-time management tip that we could all use, it's about setting up boundaries, but I think the toughest boundaries that we often have to set, at least in my case, and I can't say this for everybody, I know the toughest boundary that I had to set up was boundaries that I had to follow, not for everybody else, but boundaries that I had to stick with. Meaning I'm not going to check my emails every, 15 seconds, or I'm not going to go to my social media and check that. And especially in this really hyper-connected world that we're in, where we have emails on our phone and WhatsApp and Messenger and texting and phone calls and emails and so many ways to connect with people, not to mention LinkedIn and Instagram and all these things. Like, you have to set these boundaries. And admittedly, I did not do a great job with that for a really long period of time. In fact, I still struggle with it. So the boundaries that I have to set, the toughest ones are not with my customers, they're me internally. But here's the one thing. If there's one time management tip that got me so much over the hump, where I started getting massive amounts of stuff done and stuff that was really important to me, obviously getting a clear vision of what I want to accomplish, that's standard, right? You guys know how I think by now. You know how important vision is for me. But here's the thing. Touch it once. Touch it once and be done with it. I used to have stacks and stacks of paper on my desk where I would literally look at the paper, go, oh yeah, I'll deal with that in a second, right? And I just open the mail and, and stack it and sort it and stuff like that. Then I'd go back to the thing and go, oh wait, I'm not dealing with that right now. Let me put that back over here, right? And I would shuffle these papers around, and I was a master shuffler for years and years and years until I realized, and I heard this concept, I believe I got this concept from Chet Holmes in The Ultimate Sales Machine. I believe that's where it came from. But it was just simply touching it once. You don't need to touch a piece of paper 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, or an email in your inbox as you review it for the 15th time. I'm not in the mindset for that. The best thing to do, if you're not going to be in the mindset to deal with those emails in that moment, then don't open your email at all. And if it's something that you look at and say, well, I can't deal with it right now, then you schedule it in that moment. And that's probably the best time management tip that I could offer. That's all I have for today. I'm going to start my birthday weekend. Have a great day, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. And please remember to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have a great weekend. Talk to you again soon.